وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Thank you very much all. Thank you very much for the instructors. This session, as Hassan very rightly mentioned in the beginning, the key objective of this session is a live session, and initially it was supposed to be meant for only the TAIF examinees so that they can ask questions from the instructors. But then we said that there may be many other people who are interested, who are taking the exams and who may have registered with other organizations or not necessarily, who have not necessarily registered for the TAIF course. So we said that let us open it to all. Those of you who are TAIF student, you have access to the portal, and you can have you can ask direct questions from the trainers through the portal, and all the attendees also. You can also feel free during the session. The format of the session is that the course was divided among the 3 instructors. Each of the instructor will be taking you through the topics that they covered. So initially they will talk sometime about the subject or the topic that they had done the course, and then you will have opportunity to ask questions. You also have opportunity throughout the session to put any question on the Q&A, and except for the brother who will be presenting, the other 2 instructors are there, and they will be taking care of your questions live. So with this, I invite Brother Mufti Fahad to start the session. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Mufti Fahad, the mic is yours. Thank you. Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulih al-kareem. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome all the participants, and before starting my session, I would like to ask the participants of TAIF that
Brother Fahad, I think the video is on somewhere else. We are having an echo at your voice. The voice is bouncing. If it's on somewhere else, please can you mute it?
Let I check.
We can't hear you, brother.
I think it is resolved now. Still, you are hearing the echo?
Yeah, your voice is bouncing 2-3 times.
Now I have removed my setup from the second computer.
All right.
Is it okay now?
I believe it's still there.
Anyone else feeling echo?
Now it's okay.
Now it's fine.
It's fine. Alhamdulillah. To the participants, before starting my today's session, I would like to ask from the participants who are registered with the TAIF for this CSAA Preparatory course, if they have some sort of questions from the standards that I have delivered. I believe that there are 13 standards or 13 video sessions before mid that I have conveyed. If any one of you have some sort of questions with you, then you may please come up with that. Or if there isn't any specific question, then I would start my presentation for today. Brother Hassan, you can check with the attendees if they have some sort of question or they raise hand.
At the moment, Mr. Fahad, I can't see any question. There is question. Okay, it's been answered. So, but still, I think I heard.
Start with
your voice is bouncing, because in the chat, the students are saying that voice is bouncing still.
So let's start with our today's session or the the slide that I have prepared for today's session. As a trainer or as a student, I have got an opportunity to sit in several exams of professional qualification like CISI, IOFI CSAA Exam, or CPA. And with that experience for professional qualifications, I have some idea or some hack points for all of you to make your attempt successful for any sort of professional qualification that you're willing to attempt. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This session is about how to get prepared for IOFI CSA course, and this is about a practical approach to successful attempt of professional qualification, whatever it would be. So the first thing that I want you to develop is the learning map. What I mean by learning map is to use mind maps or topic trees. These are the best strategies to develop your personal understanding regarding a topic or the categories or the content that has been divided within the topic, so that at 11th hours or the day before your examination, you don't need to consult the whole literature or the whole content that you have with you. You just need to make an overview of the topic tree that you have designed or developed during your literature review or your consultation period or your preparation period for that specific exam. This clearly lays out what you need to study. The basic reason or the basic error that I have encountered with while preparing for these professional certification is the question what I need to consult or what I need to remove or what I need not to consult. There is a huge portion you have. You have to consult 48 Sharia standards, and there are 4 governance standards as well. It means that, while discussing the volume of Sharia standards we have, there are about 13% of standards which are more than of 8 pages, and there are 7% which are of about 5 to 6 pages, and there are some minor standards which are of more than 10 to 15 pages. And for all the standards which are of minor or major length, you have to design a topic tree. Like in case of Murabaha, you have to design a topic tree like the agency in Murabaha, the forms of Murabaha, the modes of dealing while Murabaha. There are some sort of cases which dealt within an individual capacity, or there must be some cases that IOFI discussed for institutional perspective as well. But in case of CSAA, you must have in hand how many dimensions are discussed there in the standard. Like if there are 88 heads discussed in the standard with respect to some specific topic, then you have to design a topic tree with 8 branches ahead, so that before sitting in exam, you just need to go through what you have designed on your topic tree, and inshallah this will become very helpful for you. The second strategy that I adopted while sitting in those exams is to make the summary. I already know that most of you are working professionals, and there is very small time or very less time for you to get yourself prepared for the CSAA exam. And therefore, TAIF has designed this course on the self-paced basis so that you can listen what IOFI wants to make you know by just driving from home to your office or coming back. So by designing the summary, you have an idea about the scope of standard, which is the brain of standard as it is. And after that, the major idea or the major topic which IOFI emphasis within the standard. That major topic which is of the major concern in the standard is the key topic for the exam. Especially the practical or modern application are the most hot areas from where IOFI extract the question for the CSAA exam. Some summaries are already available on internet for CSAA exam, or you can prepare your very own. And I believe that everyone must design a document in accordance of its own brain setup, or in accordance with his own ease and comfort level. There must be some bullet points that he designed which may be understandable for himself only, not for everyone. So therefore, I must recommend you to design your very own summary of all the standards, or you can make a study group. Like I was checking the online interface of TAIF. There are more than 10 participants there, and they can make a study group, and they can segregate some number of standards, shuffling between them, and after that everyone is responsible for its dedicated standards to develop a summary, and after that all that summaries will be piled up in a form of document which may become beneficial for themselves and for rest of the participants as well if they wish. So the second thing that you need to do is to get the summary or to design a summary. The designing of summary is recommended, or if you want to get already prepared summaries, I will share some links on the TAIF interface as well for the participants where they can get those summaries, inshallah. But those summaries aren't recommended but suggested for those who don't have enough time to do so. The third thing is while you are sitting in the exam, there must be 3 types of questions you need to address. There are some questions which are of true and false nature. You were asked about a situation or a statement or a scenario, and there are 2 options for you. Either those situation would be true or false. The second format would be if question, like if this happens, then the result would be, and you have 4 situations to answer with, and you have to select one or more than one amongst them. And the third type of question that you need to address is a scenario based question or a theoretical question, which is more of the, you can say, which involves mathematical calculations with it. But these sort of questions are very less in CSAA, but I check with the last exam of CISA or CIPA, and there are some questions in CISA exam as well as in CIPA exam. So you must be very much aware, like the standards of indices, and like the standard of zakat, the profit calculation for murabaha, the distribution calculation for any sort of instrument that IOFI have discussed within the standards. These are the standards which involves calculation or mathematics. And there is a probability that if IOFI wants to raise some sort of questions from those standards, those questions would be mathematical in nature. So while dealing with these type of questions in exam, like true or false, the first type that I have discussed, this is a good, you need to first attempt those questions which are of true or false in nature. This is good for your confidence, and gets you into the exam rhythm. You will become more familiarized with the exam and make yourself somehow comfortable with that exam. So I suggest you to first attempt the questions that have options with true and false instead of going for rest of two options. The second thing, questions starting with if or on or case oriented are mostly come with the solution in the question. With my experience, I am uh, right now it's about more than 9 years that I am involved with the IOFI trainings for Sharia standards or accounting or auditing standards of that. And I have encountered with the all the questions that I have encountered with, like if or the case-oriented questions must have solution within that. But while looking or reviewing the questions, we are looking for all that items which the examiner has put in to distract you from the actual case scenario that we need to address. So while discussing or while considering these sort of these sort of questions, you must be very much focused and very much confident about the situation you are going through holds the answer of this as well. Inshallah, while adopting by adopting this strategy, inshallah, your exam will be easy. The fourth strategy that you need to adopt is don't get sidetracked. Like while answering questions, make sure you stick closely to what the question need you to do. Don't start thinking more than that is relevant with the question. Like Brother Hassan has discussed a question with me last night, which is about the standard number 6, the conversion of a conventional bank into an Islamic bank. And the question is somehow tricky. There are more than one aspect of that question to answer with. But there is a clue within the question for all the participants that among these three situations, what situation is required to be answered. So thinking so much about a question makes you distracted from your you can say from your actual goal. So this can be waste your time and can make the power out of your answer. So don't be distracted or think so much about any question. The fifth strategy is to format your brain and just copy what has been written within the standards and make it pasted on your brain for the CSAA exam for IOF. Like most of you have already discussed IFRS or like IOOIFI, the auditing standards, IAS, or something like that. The different qualifications hold different standards setting bodies. But whatever you have learned about anything that you are going to study within IOFI Sharia standards, the first thing that you need to do is to make your brain format. Forget about anything that you have learned about any sort of instrument or the product that you are going to learn, and just be focused what IOFI want to make you learn about that specific instrument, product, or service, and try to paste all that within your brain, especially for the tenure of your exam. Because if you want to qualify this fellowship of IOFI, then you must have to answer with what is written within the standard. There might be some sort of errors or mistakes within the standards, and those mistakes and errors will be rectified or amended, inshallah, within the next or upcoming version of the standard. But if there is still some errors and mistakes, you have to answer all that with those errors and mistakes. because your exam is checked online by the algorithm designed by AAOIFI, and the algorithm is in accordance with what is written within the standard. So you have to make your brain completely formatted so that you can get an idea what AAOIFI wants to make you think about some sort of product or services offered by an Islamic bank. Or it is preferred that you design a comparison chart if possible for all the alternatives you have already studied anywhere, like the mortgage or Rahan, standard number 39 in AAOIFI, or this is also discussed in IFRS standard number 7, financial instruments, or IFSP standard number 23. These are all standard setting bodies for conventional and Islamic financial institution. If you are from Malaysia and you are working with some Islamic bank there, then you have to follow the IFSP standards. And if you want to acquire some fellowship qualification for AAOIFI as well, then there must be some mismatch within the standard. So make yourself very much comfortable and very much smart. You have to design a comparison chart between both studies that you have already in your mind. This strategy is the best that will benefit you in your future as well if you want to acquire some sort of academic qualification, or if you want to conduct some sort of research on financial instruments as well. This documentation you have designed while studying for AAOIFI CSAA. This will become very much beneficial for you, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. This is all from my side. I wish you very much best of luck for your exam. If you have any sort of question within you, you can ask it right now, or you can ask it by using TAIF's platform, or all the participants which are not have registered yet with the TAIF and they want to ask some sort of question, they can ask the way of contact from Brother Zia or Brother Asan, inshallah. Now, with that said, I transfer this session to Brother Zia. Brother Zia, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mufti Fahad. What I would, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you, Mr. Zia.
Okay. Yeah, what I would suggest, Mufti Fahad, that before can you like identify the topics that you covered in the course so that the students can, and like maybe if you can briefly in 5-10 minutes quickly go through some of those topics, some of the key areas that you would like to highlight to the students in the course that the areas that you covered, so that
All right.
if they have any questions, they can ask. Yeah.
The standards that participants have already covered, I believe those are 10 standards that I have covered, and there are 3 fundamental courses. So the volume of video lectures that I have covered for midterm examination is about 13. And among those 10 standards that I have covered, and the most important or the most significant standard is the standard number 6, the conversion of conventional bank into an Islamic bank. This is a very important standard with respect to your professional needs as well as for your CSAA exam. The second standard, which is of the most importance, is Murabaha, which is of standard number 8. And the third one are indices. These 3 standards are amongst those standards from which most of the questions of last 3 years in AAOIFI CSAA exam I have gone through, alhamdulillah. So these are the three standards from my discussed topic. Whereas, inshallah, I think I have shared the list with Brother Mubashir and Brother Rafi of standards that was discussed within the exams for last 3 years by IOC, and inshallah they will discuss within this session.
Correct.
Brother,
Like any key thing that you would like to mention about these 2 or 3 standards that you highlighted? Any specific thing that you want the students to be?
Standard number 6 is a practical standard, not a theoretical standard. This is the only standard within the 48 standards which is of the practical in nature instead of theoretical. So there are some situations in that, like if there is conversion initiated, the conversion of conventional bank has been initiated, and the stakeholders become changed, or some new party has acquired that. So in case if new stakeholders are there, then the treatment with the existing deposit, treatment with the zakah, and treatment with the non-Muslim account holders, the religiosity variable will be enforced by IOFI in exams. Like if an Islamic bank, if a conventional bank is converting into an Islamic bank, and with that Islamic bank, there are some accounts for non-Muslim account holders as well. So IOFI instruct that while dealing with these accounts, there is no need to ask from Muslim account holders for conversion, but bank have to ask to non-Muslim account holders either they want to convert their accounts from conventional to Islamic. If they say yes, then there is a solution within standard number 6. But if they say no, there is no solution within. There is no solution right away within the standard. So this is the portion where IOFI needs to work some more. But while dealing these sort of situations, IOFI already guided that you have to consult with the Central Sharia Supervisory Board of your central bank. Whatever they have decided, you need to do that. These sort of questions and these scenarios are the most important scenarios with respect to the exam for CSAA. So
the other standards that you mentioned.
So inshallah, there will be a list on our online platform for all the participants that have registered with TAIF, like these topics which they need to emphasize more for their exam. Inshallah,
we can share it with the others as well who are attending the webinar. We will share it with all as well. So in terms of like Sheikh, can you kindly repeat the standard that you covered so that we can ask for the questions from the students?
Yes, I can repeat that.
Mention the conversion of Islamic bank to.
Like I have covered standard number 35, which is about the zakah. Standard number 29, which is about the stipulation and ethics of fatwa in institutional framework. Standard number 21, which is about the financial papers, shares and bonds. Standard number 10, which is about salam and parallel salam. Standard number 48, which is about options to terminate due to breach of trust. Standard number 4, which is about the settlement of debt by set-off. Standard number 27, which is about indices. Standard number 7, which is about hawala. 6, conversion of conventional into an Islamic bank, and standard number 8, which is about muraba. These are the standards covered by me, and there are 3 more sessions which are of fundamental in nature, like introduction and sources of Sharia, and Islamic jurisprudence, the riba, interest, current, and other prohibitions, and the Sharia foundational course number 3, which is about Islamic financial system, general rulings, and Islamic law of contract. This is the portion. This is a big portion covered by me. Before
any like which ones do you think are the most important ones that from the exam point that our students
among these standards, Murabaha, standard number 8, standard number 6, conversion of conventional bank into an Islamic bank, and standard number 27, indices. These are the most significant ones.
Okay.
As the record of last 3 years for CSAA exam.
Okay. If there is like any questions, let me have a look at the questions that are there. There was one question if non-TAIF students can have material of CSAA. Yes, whatever are the presentation and discussions around this session, surely we can share it with all the participants here. But the rest of the course, then you need to register with TAIF for the rest of the course.
Yeah, there is a question by Brother Ferdil Pugalo, which is also a registered student for TAIF, and he want to know that if the quizzes are representative of actual CSAA exam. Yes, Brother Ferdil, we have designed quizzes on the same format of CSAA exam.
Yeah, he's asking if all the standards have quizzes or just some of them. I also wanted to know if the quizzes are representative. Okay. I think we have.
I think there is no question, and I think we start with the second trainer.
Yeah. No, Brother Fahad, what his question is further, Brother Fadil, is that does the questions have, do we have questions for all the standards? I think we have questions wherever we have, we feel like there is a need for a question, not necessarily, but there should be questions for definitely for all the standards. Right, Brother Fahad?
Brother Jadi, there is an interruption in your voice. Can you please repeat?
No, the question was, can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
He's asking about the quiz. That does the quizzes are for all the standards or some of them?
Brother, we have designed a quiz for almost all of the standards, but there are some standards which are somehow practical in nature, and they involve mathematical calculations or some economic or econometrics theories to consult with. Therefore, we don't meet or design quiz for that, but we have designed a complete mock exam as per the format of AAOIFI for all the participants which are registered with the TAIF. And after attempting that mock exam, inshallah, if you attempt that, I may assure you 75% of your success within AAOIFI CSAA exam. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay. And there is like, once you register with AAOIFI, they also send you a mock examination. So you can also practice using that. And we will also be providing you with the mock examination. So you can go through the quizzes and ask. If there is any other question relating to the area, the subjects and topics, Brother Fahad has covered, then we ask him, or otherwise we move to the next instructor. Sumaira Siddiqui is asking, CSAA will examine us on all 54 Sharia standards.
No, Sumaira, you need to consult only first 48 standards from Sharia standards book and 4 standards from Sharia governance.
Correct. So not all the 54. But the thing is, the problem is that the exam is conducted based on the book and the standard. So if there is a revision in the standard later on after 48, the exam will be based on 48. We are in touch with the AAOIFI. They are revising the
Brother
content.
Sister Sumera asking another question. She's asking that anyone can registered with TAIF for mock exam only.
Okay, it is something interesting. We can think of it. If you are interested, write to TAIF, write to TAIF at contact@taif.ae or contact@taiflearning.com. We will give you an answer. If you are interested, we will be more than happy to include you or any other student in the mock exam. Sure. Any other? No problem. You can. We are there here. If you are taking exam from other organization, no problem at all. We are more than happy to help and support. This is the objective of TAIF, to help and support and promote AAOIFI standards. I just for the sake of interest and information of the students, not relating to CSAA, that one of our senior instructors has started working on rest of the standards as well. So standard 60 and back. So for 1 to 48 we have covered here in CSAA. 1 to 60 to backward. Another senior AAOIFI instructor, TAIF instructor has started working on it. And in few weeks time, we will be having, other than the CSAA, we will be having a AAOIFI standards, up-to-date standard course as well. Anyway, if there is nobody else, I would be moving to the next instructor.
Yes. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
So brother Rafe, can you hear me?
Brother Mubashir, inshallah. I think Brother Rafi, right?
Okay.
Brother
Okay,
Mubashir.
Brother Mubashir, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I hope you are all fine and enjoying good health. So, Brother Fahad, Alhamdulillah, covered everything related to about the exam preparatory course for CSAA. But my presentation is based on how can you cover your standards quickly and fastly, because all of you are so much busy in your life and you all are the professionals and don't have much time to study about the standards. So I give you some tips and guidance how you can cover your standard quickly and how can you read and understand this standard. So because I know not all the participants here are having the strong knowledge about the Sharia. So that students, especially those participants, are so much confusing. Because if the person don't have a Sharia background related to it, so it's very hard for that person to understand the standards and what are the definitions and related to it. So my presentation is especially for those participants who don't have a strong background about the Sharia and having a least background. For everyone, but especially for those participants, so that they can also understand this standard quickly and how can they make the bullet points related to it. So let's start now with, I just share my. Everyone see the presentation?
Yes, Mubashir, we can see the presentation. Can you make it full screen
Okay.
at the bottom of your at the bottom of your screen, slideshow?
Is it okay?
Yeah, this is okay. This is still okay.
Okay. So I prepare, I just take out one standard, which I already covered in CSAA Preparatory course. So, and I make it, summarize it and make a chart for you so that you can, everyone, if everyone wants to learn quickly, then what you need to do for it, so you can better understand it. So let's overview it. It's a standard number 2, Shari'ah standard number 2, which is debit card, chart card, and debit card, credit card. It's a mistake. So first of all, we see what are the similarities and what are the differences between all those cards, and what are the Sharia rulings regarding these cards. So first of all, we see about the issuing, some bullet points like what are the issue, like it is permissible for issuing this card for the institutions or for the Islamic banks, or whether it is permissible or not. First thing you need to know about it. Then what can you purchase through this card? And like, are you can purchase it only, or you can use this card for any service you want to avail it, like for any transactions. So third one is there any fee you need to pay while you withdraw any transaction from this card? And is it permissible, like if the institutions can take any fee while you withdraw the transaction through this card? Is it's permissible or not? And also, is there like interest? What are the interests, like if we transact any transaction, if we any transaction through this card, like debit card, so we need to pay any interest, like charge card and credit card, we need to pay any interest or not? So let's see. First of all, we see the debit card. Debit card, first thing you need to know about what is the debit card. You are most of the people, all of you already know about the debit card, because it seemed like a conventional, same like the conventional bank issued this card, as well as like Islamic banks. But there is just a difference of process flow in it only. So I think everyone know about the debit card and how it is work. So first you must know about it, how it is work. So for the debit card, if we see in the standard, so standards tell us about it that it is permissible for the institutions to issue the debit card. And debit card, now see what the holders of this card have a right to withdraw the cash from his account or to pay the goods and services, but only it's having a limitation, the limit of its available funds. How much the balance available for this account, for in his account, he is only use this card for these transactions. Whenever his balance is finished, in the account, then he is not able to transact any transaction through this card. So we can say that it's having not any credit facility. Number 3, we see normally banks pay charges, like if we transact any transaction and through this card, then normally bank not take any charges for using it. But in Pakistan, I give you some example, like I'm living in Pakistan. So if you buy some specific products like the baby products, baby powder, baby milks, and the baby products, for example. So I must need to pay extra money for it while I doing these transactions. So it's depend upon the institutions and the banks. They having any policy regarding it or not. So most of the banks usually don't take any extra charges regarding it. But some banks, they charge the fee for specified goods and products while we transact through this card. And so we see about the debit card. So now we understand the issuing can be issued or not. Bank, the institution can issue this card, yes. Then we see the limitation. This card don't have any credit facility. So we already know about it that we can purchase and up to our limitation, like how much balance we having in our account. So we have right to withdraw it, and we right to to pay any charges regarding it. It's don't have any issue. And what are the Sharia rulings regarding it? It's permissible. And let's see the charge card. While we coming on the charge card, so charge card, basically you must need to know about it. How is it is working. For the charge card, it's another slide. We see the difference about the charge card and credit card so that you well know about it. So issuing card, charge card don't have any revolving credit facility as well. But if we see the debit card, for issuing debit card, it's having not a credit facility as well as a charge card. And through charge card, we can also purchase anything which we like to purchase, but we having also limitation in how much the credit limitation we having in it. And also it is right to withdraw it. Like if we want to use this card for purchasing any product or for any services, we like to use it. So we can use this card for it. It's don't have any issue in it. And institutions like Islamic banks does not charge the cardholder any percentage commission or purchasing. So we know about it that having not any like extra charges while we using while we doing the transaction through this card, like charge card. And the cardholders having a specified transaction credit limit. So we understand it, and what are the Sharia rulings, like it is permissible or not. So according to Sharia, according to AAOIFI, it is permissible. It is permissible for the bank, and also it is permissible for the cardholder to using this card for their need, for their any need, like he wants to purchase any goods or to avail any services. Now we will come on the third card, which is credit card, and the credit card having revolving credit facility. Now it is the difference between the debit card and charge card and credit card. The credit card is different rather than debit card and charge card, because credit card having revolving credit facility. But through credit card, we can also use this card for purchasing of goods and services, and also we can withdraw the cash, but within the approved credit limit from the bank side. Like if bank give us a limitation, how much limitation bank give us? So we only can withdraw the cash within that approved credit limit. And also we can withdraw and right to withdraw anything, and we can avail and we can pay the goods to purchase the goods, and also use to avail any services related to it. And it's also having the charges like if we not give not paid our the credit facility, like it is a credit facility, like bank give us a credit and then later on we pay the bank in installments. So if we not able to give that installment on a time, then bank make us a defaulter and we having interest. So because of that interest, it is not permissible for the issuing, like for the banks, Islamic banks, and not also permissible for the card holder to use this card and to purchase their goods and services for it. And now let's see what are the difference between the credit card and charge card, so that you can better understand, because lots of participants don't know about it, what are the difference between them. So charge card generally required that you pay off the full amount you spend on the card each month. Like if you transact anything from this card, like you are using the charge card, and later on you need to pay like full payment you spend on the credit card each month, not giving any time like in a deferred payment, like same like credit card. Same like credit card only required you to pay off some minimum amount of total balance you own each month. Like they giving you a credit facility on deferred payment, and you need to pay your installment. And if you aren't able to pay the installment, then it you charge the interest. So that's why credit card is not permissible in Sharia, because having interest in it, and rather than the debit card and the charge card, it is permissible in Sharia. So this is the chart through which you can easily cover your standard. Number 2, I give you one example. You can make the points as well, so that it's easy. You just before you just see this chart, and you know, okay, if any like AAOIFI, if you want to give you wants to do any mock examination test or the AAOIFI preparatory test. So it's easy for you. You just see the one, you just see only, and then you can get everything related to all the standards. Instead of you just read all the standards from first to end. So you need so much time for it, and it's not possible. You can just read the standard and you can cover it up, unless you not highlight those points. So you need to read again and again. So better to read again and again. You just summarize your standard and you make the chart and bullet points for it, so that when you need to give any exam or you start your preparation for this exam, So you must just read it and you know everything about it. So let's see another example, like Musharaka. Musharaka is the Sharia standard number 12, which is about the partnership. So you must need to make a point outs for it, like a bullet points. Like if the Musharaka, like Shirka contract is concluded, so there must be an offer and acceptance in it. Like what are the main factors, what are the main points which we require to conclude in the partnership or Shirka contract. So the most important thing is offer and acceptance. And later on, we can see in it, like, can the non-Muslim enter into this partnership in this contract or not? So because the AAOIFI also mentioned it in the standard, that the non-Muslim can enter into this partnership or in this contract or not. Also, the conventional bank, like Islamic banks, conventional banks based on the interest. So that's why it's need to mention it, because while you make the partner of conventional bank whose earning or sources are based on the interest, sources are on interest base. So that's why AAOIFI need to point out it. So whenever you need to make any partner from a partner from the conventional bank or the non-Muslim, so those points will disturb and make you confusing. So that's why standard the AAOIFI tells you about it. Like, can you make the partner non-Muslim your partner in the Musharaka contract or the conventional bank as well. So like also can partners when partnership contract, like if we concluding one contract, then it is permissible or we can amend this contract or not later on. So yes, you can amend it, but it is based on your mutual consent. So it is like if you having mutual consent from the both parties, then you definitely amend the contract. And the most important elements in the partnership is like capital contributions. Like if someone wants to contribute in this contract, so either is this in the form of capital, like fiat currency, or in the form of another currency as well. So AAOIFI tell us about everything in this standard, that if what is the nature of the capital if you want to invest in this contract. Like if you having different, if you are living in a Pakistan, so the currency used here is a Pakistani rupees, PKR. So if someone having partner in different country, like one partner is living in, for example, Dubai, so UAE, so he wants to invest also in this contract. So he send a dirham, like AED currency in here, and this currency is converted into the Pakistani rupees, like PKR. So then they are contributing in this contract. So these are the main points, like what are the possibilities regarding when you are just concluding this contract, like Musharaka partnership. So these are the bullet points you just need to make it and just remember in your mind like that. And most important thing is like management in Shari'ah. Like if there are so many partners concluding the Musharaka Shirka contract, and how they can manage this contract equally, and what are the percentage required for it. Either is there need to invest equally, or they can also invest, like some invested 33%, some are 25%, like that. So it's all about the management. If some partners wants to do the work extra, like additional work. So can they take the extra salary or extra money for it or not? So it's also the management in Shari'ah. So it will help you to about how we can manage the Shari'ah contract like that. Then it's come to the grantee. Like in every contract, like it's not depend upon the Musharaka and Shari'ah contract. In every contract, there is which is related to the mode of financing. So there is a guarantee as well. So in Shari'ah, because in Shari'ah, the partnership, it is totally the trust-based contract. So the guarantee is not mandatory in this contract like that, because every partner is working on a trust base. And also we see the profit and loss distribution, how we can do the profit and loss profit distribution in this contract. And also the maturity of the Shari'ah. Like if the Musharaka contract is concluded and mature, then what is the work we need to do after the finish this contract? So if you make the chart like that and you make the bullet points related to this standard, then it's easy for you to memorize these points and cover the standard easily and quickly. And okay, let's see, like offer and step acceptance and capital contributions, guarantee, profit and loss distribution, everything, maturity. So when you do like that and make a chart, so it's easy for you, and it's easy for you not only this standard, but for every standard. Okay, if there is a mode of financing contract, then okay, we need to know about the capital, we need to know about the subject matter, we need to know about the guarantee and profit and loss distribution, and how we can terminate this contract. So these are the main factors in every standard. You must need to know about it.
All right. Mushir bhai, we have to move on with the timing. Apologies for interrupting, but we want to move on with the timing.
Okay.
We'll take some questions in case, and then Mr. Zia, if there is any question, or we can move to, I think we have brother, our master trainer Yousuf Sultan as well with us. Brother Rafi is there as well in the queue.
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much, Brother Mubashir. If I summarize what Brother Mubashir highlighted is that in addition to the point that Brother Fahad mentioned, mapping your and doing a plan for your exam, one key thing that he trying to highlight was that you need to make points when you are going through the standard. You should go through the standard and then try to make key points and identify the key areas that are covered in the standard. He took two examples from one from the debit credit card, that you make notes about as you go. You make notes and brief notes and identify and note down the key things, so that when you want to memorize and when you want to revise, you are able to revise it well, rather than going through all the 15, 18, 20 pages of the standard. You can sort of have a summary of the standard, where you can actually go through and you can go through those points and you can do your revision.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Mubashir. I think unless if there are any questions specific, Brother Mubashir, which standards you have done in the course?
Okay, I will tell you it. Almost I have done 10 standard before the mid exam, which is number 1 is Al-Wakala Al-Istimar Investment Agency, which is standard number 46. And standard number 47, which is about the rules for calculating profit in financial transactions. And standard number 2, which is about the debit card, charge card, and credit card. Standard number 20, which is about sale of commodities in organized markets. And standard number 3, which is about procrastinating debtor. And standard number 5, which is about the grantee. And standard number 31, which is about controls on gharar in financial transactions. And standard number 12, Shirka, Musharaka, and modern corporations. And standard number 17, which is about investment sukuk. And standard number 40, which is about the distribution of profit in Mudarba-based investment accounts. So it is about 10 standards before the mid-exam, and it is almost 10 standards I have covered in it. And the most important standard from all this is debit card, guarantees, shirka, and investment school. These are most important standards for preparing CSAA examination.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much. If anybody has any questions before, as brother Hassan mentioned, we have brother Rafi, one of the instructors, and after brother Rafi, we have brother Mufti Yousuf Sultan, who is our chief instructor at TAIF, one of the senior instructors, and who is also master trainer for AAOIFI also. So he will be following brother Mubashir and brother Rafi. Brother Rafi will be the next. So if there is no question from brother Mubashir, I think Faisal is asking, I think we will ask it later. He's asking 48 standards in terms of exam coverage. We will deal with it at some later stage, brother.
Yeah, inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah. Jazakallah.
Thank you, brother Mubashir. Brother Rafi, assalamu alaikum. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Kya aap hadarat, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Should I?
Yes, please continue.
Okay.
Tell us first, brother.
Sorry, brother Zia, I can't hear you.
You muted me. What I'm saying is that which of the standards you have covered in the course before you proceed on presenting some of the stuff that you have.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. Before the mid, I have my covered topics are 4. I have covered 4 topics. Number 1 is commercial papers, standard number 16. Number 2, banking services in Islamic banks, standard number 28. Number 3, monetization, tawarruq, standard number 30. And number 4, Ja'ala, Sharia standard number 15. I've only covered 4 topics before mid.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
In continuation of the discussion already covered by brother Mufti Fahad Qureshi and brother Mufti Mubashir, I will also add few points only. To conclude the points as discussed by brother Mubashir, you need to cover and highlight the points. For example, he told you how to cover the standard briefly. In this presentation, I will point you, I will highlight some other strategy to cover the standard. For example, in my first topic, commercial standard, Sharia standard number 16, I will only cover 4 points to cover the complete standard. Number 1, types covered in this standard. For example, bill of exchange, promissory note, and checks. There are only 3 types of commercial papers covered in this standard by the AOIFI. No other commercial paper covered in that standard. Number 2, first of all, I will cover point number 1, which is types. Number 2, I will cover definition of each type separately. For example, types, definition of bill of exchange, definition of promissory note, definition of checks. Then I will focus on Sharia matter covered by the AOIFI, emphasized by the AOIFI. There are two basic Sharia points that were covered in the standard. Number one, laws of serf should be followed to transact in all three types. And number two, discounting is not permissible for any commercial paper. If I continue to cover the standard like this, for example, cover the types, cover the definition, cover the major and specific law covered in the standard Sharia law, then I am able to cover the standard in just one slide, in just few minutes. These are the types of notes I can develop for commercial paper, for example. In banking services in Islamic Bank Sharia standard number 28, complete standard is based on three types of Sharia contracts. Number one, agency. Other than safe deposit and accounting services, all the types covered in the banking services Sharia standard are based on Sharia concept of agency. For example, in a banking service standard, the standard covers 6 different types. One of them is account services, that is based on muzaraba or qarz, loan. Number two, safe deposit, that is based on ijara concept, and all other activities, banking services are based on agency concepts. If I note down this in as a summary, I am able to cover the standard very briefly and very shortly in few points only. In my next standard, Sharia standard number 30, monetization ya tawarruq, I need to understand the concept of tawarruq initially. Number one, the concept of tawarruq is based that there are 3 different contracts. In first contract, institution directly or through agent purchases an asset from third party and take possession over it. However, in a second contract, customer who needed money purchases an asset from the institution that were possessed by the institution in a first contract. And in the third contract, after purchasing from the institution, the customer sold the same item to third party to obtain cash. There is only one basic principle from the Sharia perspective, which is ina should be avoided. No other Sharia law is there in the complete standard. There are some scenarios, as explained by Mufti Fahad Qureshi Sahab. There are some scenarios covered in this standard which falls under the category of bai'ina or tawarruq. However, there is only one principle that tawarruq is allowed, but ina should be avoided. Ina means buyback. Buyback should be avoided. Also, in Ju'ala contract, Sharia standard number 15, there is one thing that I should cover, which is definition. Definition can be understood easily from this Quranic verse. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قالوا نفقد صواع الملك ولمن جاء به حمل بعير وأنا به زعيم. This verse from the Surah Yusuf can explain Ju'ala from every aspect. For example, contracting parties are there, contract offer and acceptance is there, subject matter is there, and price or compensation is there. For example, in this verse, Suwa' al-Malik is a subject matter. Whoever finds the Suwa' al-Malik will get a compensation, which is hamlu ba'irim from in a Quranic verse. So that ayah, that verse can explain every aspect of Ju'ala in a very short brief. Number two, there are different laws for each element. For example, contracting parties have different laws, contract has different laws, subject matter and compensation has different laws. It is exactly the same way as covered previously. However, there are some exemptions as well, which should also be covered in any standard. For example, compensation in Ju'ala. In Ju'ala contract, compensation is a mandatory, as also covered in Quranic verse. But there is some exception. For example, as a rule, entitlement to compensation is not established until the work is completed and delivered to the offer. This is a basic and core principle for compensation in Ju'ala. However, following are the exceptions. Number one, where it is evident that the work undertaken by the worker belongs to someone other than the offerer. If the work belongs to someone other than the offerer, then there are some other laws. The basic principle of compensation as explained in first two lines will not be applicable here. And in exception number two, when an accident occurs during work undertaken by the worker causing loss, and the loss was not due to the negligence of the worker. In that scenario, the basic principle entitlement of compensation is not established until the work is completed will not be applicable here. So, from my point of view, you should cover the standard in line with the instructions communicated to you by Mufti Fahad Qureshi Sahab, and also the way explained by Mufti Mubashir Sahab, and you may also select the method as explained by me. Hopefully, it will be able to, you are after this complete method, you will be able to cover the standard easily, and you will be able to memorize the basic concepts covered by the AOIFI. Jazakallah.
Very much, brother Rafi. Thank you very much, brother Mufti Rafi, for the brief and to the point. Now I would invite before Ehsan, would you like to show, like, to just give our participants who are not TAIF students, we would like to give them a view of the course. How does it look like? So just few minutes before I bring brother, our chief instructor, brother Mufti Yousuf Sultan.
Yeah, inshallah, I'll play the video for a minute from both the three trainers, and people can have a taste how we have developed the course, the quality of the course, and the status of the delivery.
Yeah, sure.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear participants, welcome to another episode of AAOIFI CSAA Preparatory course offered by TAIF Digital Technologies. In this session, we are going to discuss the 10th standard of AAOIFI, which is about Salam and parallel Salam transaction. In this session, we cover, inshallah, Salam and parallel Salam transaction, whether the institution is buyer or the seller, or an issuing Salam Sukuk. And as we adopted the pattern before in Murabaha and Ijara Muntahiya Bitamlik,
in this standard, we will learn about the definition and the types of Gharar, what is the Sharia status of Gharar, how we can control on Gharar, and what are the controls and the scope of Gharar in exchange-based contract, and impact on Gharar on documentations and the conditions of Gharar, impact of Gharar, which stems from the condition of the contract. So at the end of this lecture,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Participants, in this video we will cover Sharia standard number 16, commercial papers. First of all, we will discuss the purpose. The purpose of the standard is to provide rules pertaining to commercial papers, their permissibility and impermissibility from a Sharia perspective, and to provide guidelines to Islamic financial institutions with respect to the process and mechanisms for dealing with commercial papers regarding their.
Thank you very much, Ehsan. Thank you very much, Pre-issue.
I hope the people who watch will have an idea of the quality of the course we are producing, inshallah. And people who are still doing the course, we can have their reviews and see how the course have performed. So yes, Mr. Zia.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, it's a continuous process of improvement, so we continuously review and make amendment, inshallah. And as I mentioned, like few of the things is that the limitation that I mentioned that we need to follow strictly what is in the standard. And but inshallah, AAOIFI is in the process of revising the course, and with revision, hopefully it will be. This course is CSAA is soon going to be divided into two courses, and Sharia advisor and Sharia auditor will be two different courses. So it is good for people who are actually registered in this course to, I think, like going forward, it will be more difficult to pass this exam. So this is an opportunity to actually appear in this exam and try to pass as soon as possible. Now I would like to invite Brother Mufti Yousuf Sultan. He is our Chief Instructor at TAIF and is a Master Trainer of AAOIFI as well. And I would like all the participants as well that this Sharia standards and Sharia governance are also part of the SEPA exam paper. So all of you, there will be a session on Sharia standard and Sharia guidance on 21st of June, which will be a 2-hour lecture by Mufti Yousuf Sultan. So we would invite you as well to attend this that session as well. Brother Yousuf Sultan, can you hear me? The mic is yours now. Bismillah.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, alhamdulillah. All right, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala Muhammadin sayyidil mursalin wa ala alihi ajma'in. Thank you everyone for attending the session today. Since I joined, I heard both Mufti Mubashir and also I guess Mufti Rafi, and I also have seen the lectures of Mufti Fahad. Jazakumullah khairan. So I think I don't have much to add to this, but maybe a bit of more overall picture of the exam preparation for CSAA candidates. So first thing I would like to share is that we have to always visualize the bigger picture. This is not only for CSAA examinees, but also any other certification, any other exam, any other graduation program that we want to take. We always need to visualize the bigger picture. So what happens if I become a CSAA certified? What is the bigger picture there? The bigger picture is maybe if I'm not in the industry, I have the chance to enter the industry. If I am inside the industry, I have the chance to get a promotion maybe, or maybe switch the career to a different path, which is more on Islamic finance and Shari'ah, or maybe or as a Sharia advisor and auditor, if my academic background is also something on Sharia. So that part we need to realize and visualize so that it aligns me for the entire journey. Because end of the day, the purpose of everything is what drives us. So why do we actually want to do CSA? I think that's the first most important part. So once we have that aligned and that drives us, the second part is about preparing. So any exam, regardless of it being easy or difficult, it requires us to prepare. So there is even preparing properly is part of tawakkul as well. Like if we don't prepare properly and just depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make a lot of dua and go to the exam center, even if we are doing good, but it's against the concept of tawakkul. the concept of tawakkul demands, and this is according to AAOIFI Code of Ethics basically. So it demands that we properly utilize the resources that we have in hand, and resources mean time, energy, and money efficiently, and given the constraints and limitations that we have in hand. So once we optimize that at full capacity, then we leave the outcome to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So meaning that maybe after we have utilized everything, we have prepared well, maybe still we will not pass the exam. So we'll not get frustrated, rather we leave that outcome to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we will take lesson and try again. So that's what the concept of tawakkul is basically. So in line with that, again, we have to really prepare well, right? So I think we have around most probably 12 or 13 days ahead for the exam. So it's the last few days. Many of us definitely, maybe we are busy at jobs. So we need to plan ahead, maybe take leaves at least for a week so that we can really focus. One of the key component of preparation is to focus. It doesn't work if we, of course, it may work partially, but when it comes to final preparation, it doesn't work that we work and then we also prepare. So we need to, there is a trade-off. So we need to really sacrifice, maybe even if it's a no pay leave, we have to take it. There is no choice, and really focus on it. Plan properly and focus on it. Now, planning, as I was mentioning, planning is a very key component. So if we look at CSAA preparation, as I was hearing Brother Zia was mentioning that soon it will become difficult. So I'm not sure if it was shared. So AAOIFI has been actually for the last few years trying to revamp the whole CSAA program, and it will be few papers like CPA program. So it will be difficult. The Sharia advisor will be separate, Sharia auditor will be separate. Now with one certification, you are getting both. So I think it really requires our proper preparation. So in CSAA, we have Sharia standards, we have governance standard as well, right? So mainly Sharia standards around 48, and governance standard is only around 4, I guess, if it's not changed lately. So with those, the most important part is Sharia standards, because governance standards is more about Sharia governance and Sharia audit, which is not so difficult if we understand the main logic. But in Sharia standards, so some of us may have a Sharia background or some a good relation with the Sharia subjects, or at least Islamic finance. I think for them, many of the standards may seem quite familiar. For others, I mean, everything is new, right? But at least I think if we have planned for the exam end of this month, definitely I assume that we have gone through the standards at least once. Now, when it comes to the final preparation, I think a few key areas we need to look at. Firstly, as the Mufti Saabs have been explaining, the concepts or the definitions of each different product, for example, each different contract. Like what is basically murabaha, what is salam? The fundamental concept is first what we need to understand. And AAOIFI in many Sharia standards will find that there is an appendix. The appendix would include the definition. So this is a very important part. We really need to read those carefully and take notes, at least keywords, so that we can remember properly. And sometimes maybe we don't have appendix, but the definitions are included right in the statement of the standard. So we really need to note properly and have a good understanding of those, because those could be made tricky in the exam questions if we don't have a proper understanding of it. So once we have the clear concepts and definitions, now this one applies across all Sharia standards. So 48, all 48. We need to understand, we need to have proper, proper understanding of every definition that is mentioned in AAOIFI Sharia standards. Next is if we look more logical point of view, what is end of the day the role of a Sharia advisor? The Sharia advisor's role is to screen out the prohibited items, impermissible items. So in other words, you need to understand what are the things that are prohibited or impermissible. So if you go to the Sharia standards, you'll find that there are things that are mentioned that it is permissible, it is permissible, it is permissible. Then there are things that are mentioned as it is not permissible, it is prohibited. So at the very least, please go through all those clauses which says it is not permissible, and ensure that you have a proper grasp of those, because this is where the questions will be quite tricky. You will be given several scenarios and you will have to choose the exact scenario which may trigger a permissibility or impermissibility. Now the hack here is that if you know what is impermissible, you know what is permissible, because everything by default is permissible unless it is impermissible. So when we know what is impermissible or prohibited, we can easily at least narrow down the other options when it comes to the exam questions, because exam questions will be MCQ type. There will be options, so we just have to narrow down and get to the proper option, right? So this is one thing. And then another part is like there are few standards which are like core standard, like which are basics, and then other standards basically kind of build on top of those standards. So for example, musharaka, mudaraba, murabaha, ijara, salam, istisna, those are like very principal or fundamental standards, and then there are many other standards that would build upon those. So in summary, maybe around 10-15, especially in the first standards, and then there are a few others also scattered, for example, tawarruk. So those standards we really need to focus on more, so that we understand the concept first. If we can understand the concept, then we can really apply that analogy to other standards as well, even if we are unable to go through. But as I mentioned, we should definitely go through the whole Sharia standard and governance standard at least once, and then take notes of the very definitions and all those that I have mentioned. So I think those are the few things that I wanted to share. And during exam, the questions will be very tricky. So we really need to have proper clarity in our mind, have proper sleep in the last night, and proper rest, and of course dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we have clarity in mind, so we can think. So every question would demand thinking. The thought process needs to be clear, and inshallah, if we have gone through the whole Sharia standard book, inshallah the thought process in the exam would be very easy, inshallah, and we will find that we can easily guess the answers. But again, it will require us to look at every question separately with a clarity in our thought process. I think that's it. I wanted to summarize few things. If there is any question, or Brother Zee, if you'd like me to address something specific, I think we can go into it. Thank you so much. I really wish and make dua for all of you, so that all of you become CSAAs and the future ambassadors of Islamic finance and leaders of Islamic finance, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Quite inspiring from all of the shiukh. I see there is like, I think in terms of the questions, we have taken most of the questions, so I don't see any beside 48 Sharia. Somebody is asking, beside 48 Sharia, are there any other elements included? So both the muftis have mentioned that beside Sharia standards, there are like 4 governance standards. They are included as well. What is Faisal is asking? He is asking more specific. I don't know which of you would like to answer him. He's asking what is the difference. Okay, Mufti Rafi is typing the answer, so he will answer him. Anybody I see while they answer him online? I see one hand. Faisal Al-Raisi has raised his hand. Okay, he has withdrawn his hand. Do you want to ask something, Faisal, or we skip you? And before that, I saw one of the muftis. I forgot the name. His name was his hand was raised for quite some time. Anybody who wants to ask any question, please feel free. You can ask our shayukh are here. All the 3 muftis, 4 muftis with us. So any questions anybody want to ask, you are most welcome. Let me see the question again. I think there are some questions. I think brother Mufti Fahad and Mufti Rafi are answering. Thank you very much once again, all. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. And as I mentioned earlier, we have another session on, there will be 3 sessions, 2-hour sessions, 20th, 21st and 22nd for the FIPA subjects. I would suggest that the 21st of June, there is a session on Sharia standards and Sharia governance with Mufti Yousuf Sultan. I would advise all of you you must attend that session as well, because this is something which is of the similar nature, although different exam, but similar nature. I would suggest that you should attend. And just to conclude, any of you who would like to, we have the contact details of all of you. So we will be sharing the presentation that brothers have done, and the other materials that we have. We will be sharing some of it. And feel free to, like, if any of you is interested in attending the mock exam, you are most welcome to send us an email, contact@taiflearning.com. We will be more than happy to include your name in the test. Okay. So, and we invite you to more sessions from TAIF, and all the students currently attending, you are most welcome. Normally at the end of each session, at the end of each class, there is a feedback session. We are always in a improvement session, so there is nothing perfect in this world except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are always room for improvement. So feel free to identify, highlight anything that you think need to be improved or further focused on. We will be, there is, like, besides the AAOIFI courses, there is like a few other courses. One of them is Islamic Fintech, Diploma in Islamic Fintech. Whenever you finish with your exam, I will not ask you to actually divert your attention now on anything else other than your exam. As Mufti Yousuf Sultan very rightly suggested, if you can take leave and focus, and feel free to ask any question. Like those of you who have access to the portal, who are TAIF students, feel free to ask questions through the portal. All our instructors would be more than happy to answer your queries immediately. They normally respond less than 24 hours. And any of you, anybody else who is not a TAIF student now, you are also welcome. You can send an email to contact@taiflearning.com with your question, and our instructors will also be more than happy to answer any of your queries as well. So our objective is to support the cause and support AAOIFI fellowship, inshallah. I think with this, just a few concluding remarks from Mufti Fahad and Mufti Yousuf Sultan. Maybe briefly, Mufti Fahad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, all the trainers, and Brother Hassan, for all the attendees at the session. We must pray for you, inshallah.
Your voice is breaking, but I think there is some problem, but we can hear, we can understand what you are saying.
Basically, I am outside right now, and
Okay.
there are lots of system around me. Therefore, that's creating an echo.
No problem.
And inshallah, we must pray for all of you to be successful in your future pursuits. Like Brother Mufti Yousuf Sultan said, we must always look towards the broader picture, and our ultimate goal for everything that we are going to do is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's acceptance. And for doing CSAA, our objective is not to gain that title of this professional qualification, but we must make ourselves prepare for all the obligations and duties which will be come to us right after successful qualification of this fellowship, especially those responsibilities which are very much concerned with Sharia are very much of taken care of. Basically, these responsibilities are those responsibilities by which our akhirah is completely attached. For the sake of, like in any case of interpreting a masala to an individual or advising any institution for any masala in respect of Sharia perspective, we must be very much careful what we are going to write or what we are going to interpret. By discussing all these IOP standards, like Brother Yousuf Sultan said, I must appreciate what Brother Yousuf Sultan has quoted, that you are very much aware of what are impermissible or what has been written impermissible within the standards. And while discussing all those standards, you must prepare a list for all the items that are stated as impermissible within those. So, with having said that, I must wish you all very best of luck, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our all efforts for the sake of His acceptance, and bless us to read, write, and listen the right history, and always make us on the right path. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Brother Yousuf Sultan. You concluding remarks from your side.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sheikh Mufti Fahad and Mufti Mubashir and Mufti Rafi. I think our attendees, our TAIF course participants are lucky, mashallah, to have good hands in this, I must say. One important aspect that Mufti Fahad Saab has highlighted is very, very important. With great power comes great responsibility. We can modify it. With great certifications come great responsibility. So this is indeed a great certification, and with that would be a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders. Especially when you go back to the industry, you will see so many practices in different jurisdictions in line with their local Sharia standards, and you can easily contrast and find that those are highly questionable. So being an IOFI certified really brings us a lot of responsibility. Of course, it starts with the seeking pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by implementing that in the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, on whatever career path we have. So with that bigger picture in our mind, and preparing well for that, I think inshallah we will have success in the exam. I really make dua for all of you, and wish that you all pass the exam in the very first instance of sitting into it. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Brother Rafi, do you want to say anything, Brother Rafi or Brother Mubashir, before we conclude?
Jazakallah, ahsan jaza. Jazakallah everyone, especially Brother Muhammad, Mufti Muhammad Yousuf Sultan, and Brother Mufti Fahad, Brother Mubashir, Brother Zia, and everyone, every participant. Thank you very much. Jazakallah. Hope we will obviously make dua for all of you to that you will pass the course in the first attempt. I mean, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Mr. Mubashir.
Thank you very much, all of you, and Jazakallah for everyone, Mufti Rafi and Mufti Yousuf Sultan and Brother Zia and Mufti Fahad Saab. And I make a dua for everyone. Allah makes you successful in your exam, and also make successful, not in this exam, but hereafter.
Jazakallah. Thank you very much all. With this dua, that success for all of you. Also remember us in your duas, and feel free to highlight to us any areas of improvement. There is one session on the similar subject on 21st of June. Attend that session, and where there is a will, there is a way. If you make it your determination that you will pass the exam, inshallah, Allah will make it easy for you. And we are happy, and we are here as TAIF to support you in this effort. May Allah accept this effort. May Allah make things easier for all of us. And may Allah make you successful in all your attempts during this session. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. This brings this session to an end. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This session is concluded. Thank you.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.